Hey folks, today we're taking a look at Transformers Prime Voyager class Ultra Magnus. Now Ultra Magnus does come with two different accessories, the first of which being this missile, which you can attach to either his forearms or up here on his shoulders or in a couple of places in vehicle mode. He also comes with this gun thing, which I'll talk about in a little bit. The overall robot mode is modeled primarily in blue with silver and red highlights. The face is, well, it's an interesting face. It's definitely a different face for Ultra Magnus. It's modeled in silver with green eyes. However, the figure has light piping, but there's nowhere for the light piping to escape, unless there is just a little bit of a pinhole underneath the eyes. That really doesn't make any sense to me. Overall, the robot mode doesn't look too bad. Poseability is okay. There is some poseability in the head here. It is on a ball joint. Shoulders are on a very loose ball joint on both shoulders. There is a swivel underneath that, which is very tight, and then a ratcheting joint for the elbow. Wrists feel like they can move a little bit in and out, but that's due to the transformation. There's no torso articulation. There is articulation through a ball joint in the hip. Above the hip is a swivel joint and then a ratcheting hinge joint at the knee. Feet do not have any articulation. There are some major issues here with the robot mode. Not the least of which being, this is just boring. This is a boring, boring figure. The overabundance of blue just really make the figure just very, very dull to look at. There's no interesting there are some interesting lines, but there's no interesting color. The other issue has to do with the actual shoulders. These two joints right here are used for the transformation, yet they're far too loose. There's nothing pegging it into place, and they don't even go all the way back. They are supposed to snap into place, but they don't. It sounds like here. It sounds like it's supposed to snap into place, and you do feel plastic rubbing up against plastic, but it doesn't actually hold anything in place. It doesn't even really peg in. It just kind of sits there, and that's a major problem. The other issue are these ball joints in the shoulders are far too loose. I mean, they're loose enough so if you hold the gun, he can't actually hold his gun straight. And just getting the gun in his hand is an issue, but so yeah, I mean that's ridiculous. I think you could see it here, but it looks like the actual ball is marred. It looks like the plastic is warped, and it's the same way with both balls in the joints. They just look marred and they look distorted. The gun itself is okay. It's pretty darn heavy. Now this gun can transform into the cannon. When you do that, you just push the barrel of the gun up, it activates the light and flips the actual hammer around. I'm sorry, you can convert it into a hammer, not into a cannon. You convert the cannon into a hammer. Now, unlike most Powerizer versions, there is a nice little tab here that allows you to hold it into place. So you push it down and you hold it, and you pray to God that you can hold it and flip this tab around and peg it into this little tiny hole right here. The only problem is, when you push it straight down, you actually have to pull this out a little bit in order to get the tab into place. And you really have to pull it down. Now, it holds into place. I like that. I like the fact that Hasbro actually bothered to make a Powerizer bit that holds into effing place, unlike all of its other Powerizers. Unfortunately, the hammer is so heavy in this configuration, he can barely hold it. It will fall out of his hands pretty easily. The other issue with this mold with this accessory I have is the tab here is very, very small. This is going to break very easily. In fact, the first time I transformed it, I noticed that the plastic on the inside of this tab is starting to mar a little bit and actually distort. That's a problem. It's not very strong. Another weird thing I found is if you just take the back here and squeeze, you activate the light gimmick, which, why is it green? Why is this light green? Every other transformer that has a powerizer is either purple or red or blue. Why is this green? It's the only one that's green. It makes no sense whatsoever. It's just dumb. So, as a gimmick, this is an utter failure. I hate this gimmick. I hate these powerizer gimmicks. Give us some arms micron. This guy in Japan comes with a really interesting arms micron that turns into a giant hammer. That's cool. The missile you can attach to any number of spots on the side of the gun here, so that's a good addition. Overall, the robot mode, like I said, is dull and boring. It doesn't look very good. It's not very striking. There's just too much damn blue here. There's not enough other colors to break it up. And his shoulders are just way too floppy. Transformation is kind of pathetic, really. It's not very interesting. There is a transformation, though. To start, we'll reach inside the thighs and flip out these panels that the wheels are on, and fold them down, and they will peg into place. Now, on both sides, the plastic is already starting to distort because it doesn't look like the peg holes are the right size. Fold the feet up, reach inside the legs, and fold these gray pieces out. You'll see why in a little bit. And then snap the legs together. Up front, open the inner arm and flip it all the way around. And then we can fold the hands up into the inner arm. Take the shoulders and fold them so that the bumper faces straight up, and fold the arm straight down. So we'll do it again over here. Fold the arm straight down, fold the bumper up like that. And make sure that the wheels are pointing forward. Next, take this piece that's just above his head and fold that down. When you do that, you'll inadvertently push the head down. So fold the arms forward like that, just so you could get the shoulder missiles, which don't look like missiles, they look more like milk bottles, underneath the cab. Fold the cab down and snap these bits into place. And you're going to screw it up once or twice before you get everything lined up. Then fold the legs up into the body. Now, you could do that first or you could do that second. It really doesn't matter. And then just snap those panels on. And that's the vehicle mode. The vehicle mode is very reminiscent to Optimus Prime Weaponizer's vehicle mode in that you've got the feet sticking straight out the back. I'll just kind of fiddle things here. Now, I don't know if you could see, but the plastic is already starting to distort in several locations. There, on that side, here, on this side, back here, it's really showing up light, but it is distorting on both these pegs. That's a real problem with this figure. The plastic does not feel right. I think they used a different type of plastic. Either that or this plastic is much, much thinner than normal, because I'm seeing distortion, or plastic coloring distortion, all over this figure. Here's some more right here. There's some more right here. It's really, really weird. I don't know what Hasbro did with this figure, but the plastic sucks. I mean, the plastic for this guy just stinks. It feels like an expensive knockoff. If you know what a knockoff plastic feels like, that plastic feels like, or very expensive knockoffs, good quality knockoffs. That plastic for a good quality knockoff feels the same as this plastic. It's just really strange. So, the weapon. Well, we could attach it a couple of different ways. According to the directions, you could attach it up top here. That looks silly. You can attach it onto the sides here. That looks silly. Or here. That looks silly. You could attach the missile to any of those spots. What you're supposed to do, according to the directions, is there are these bits right here. These bits that are attached to the side of the hammerhead are supposed to just sit and peg in right there. And that is supposed to be the vehicle mode. And that looks lame. And that little piece is a cat hair. That looks stupid. I think it should be like this, pointing forward. But then that doesn't look like the way it's been shown to us by Hasbro at all, does it? The way Hasbro has it is somehow like this, with the gun facing up. Well, the way they did it, I think, is they just deployed one of these and just put it up like that, and then put the missile on the side like that. I don't particularly like that because I think it throws off the balance of the figure, but that's kind of the best way to display it. There's no real, I guess there's no real right or wrong way to display it, but I think this way looks the best, and it actually holds in. The other way, using these back pieces, you can't even peg them in. I mean, it won't even stay. I mean, you see how much wider they are. You have to push these guys all the way out, and it just rests gently. It doesn't actually peg in. So, overall, this isn't a good figure. This really isn't a good figure. I would be interested to see if the Takara version of this guy were any better. And by better, I mean if it was better quality. I will admit, it is quick. His transformation is quick. It's not difficult, but it's not satisfying either. It's kind of just dull. I get what they were going for. I get what they were trying to do, but the execution's just poor. I mean, the execution is not fun. He's kind of a floppy mess. He's not good looking in either mode. And he's really not worth the money. I'm sorry. The accessory's dumb, and he's just not really worth the money. So, for Ultra Magnus, I'm going to have to say pass and go with the Cyberverse version. Go with the Cyberverse one. I think the coloring is better. The paint is definitely better. And you're going to end up with a better figure. So, yeah, Cyberverse wins again.